it's
my
not the
world
time to
domination
do your
plans.
girls' frontline daily.
Don't worry about it. I'll mute my phone. It's fine.
Chat open and make sure that's not playing in the background. Cool, we are ready. All right.
It's fine.
So we've got some scrims today. It's the Generation of Prodigies. Wow, that was a good start. The Generation of Prodigies versus Slightly Above Synergy, who we had yesterday as well. I am joined today not by Gavin, but by Russ, aka TsundereBaka, who hasn't been on my channel before, but came on Gavin's yesterday. Hello, Russ.
Hello. I'm ready to cast some games. I've seen one of these teams yesterday, as you mentioned. Not seen the other team. I'm excited to see some Yi, although I feel like it's going to get banned. As well as the one trick Kaiser that we'll figure out how to say the name. Just
Do you know what? Yeah, we can. I think I'm going to shorten it to iMake because
iMake. I like that.
Because iMake feels like it rolls off the tongue rather than yeah, I'm not gonna. Sorry, I'm not gonna do it. But yes, hi to everyone in chat. Both teams are looking ready. We're just waiting for the call to go. Okay. I want to like briefly touch on Slightly Above Synergy because we saw them yesterday. They are on our blue side today, so I did predict which team was on which side properly. And we saw a pretty clean 2-0 performance from yesterday.
Hopefully we won't see some of the interesting builds that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, we saw, what was it? Tears Iron? I don't think that was from...
We had Manamune. We had Manamune into Rage Blades Aya, which was an interesting one, and in game 2 a 28-55 completed Muramana transformation on an Ezreal. So hopefully we can get a bit more standard AD's items, get some more of a close game. Makes it always more fun.
Yes, we do like.
So tell me about the camps that they play.
Okay, so Brain, hello. Clearly, I was not prepared.
Let's start with the top. Let's start with the top lane.
Let's start with our top lane. Yes, let's. Thank you. Okay, so in the top lane for Slightly Above Synergy, we do have Joshua. So yesterday we saw Joshua play both Mordekaiser in game 1. So Mordekaiser in game 1, Jace game 2 had a pretty strong performance from Jace in game 2. Had a very dominant lane. But you know, we do see. Actually, I think the biggest champion pool that I scouted today was from Joshua. So, honestly, I don't really see too much you can ban out of him. He's got a good win rate set, that's 63%. Good, about 61 on Nasus. Jace, another really strong pick from him. Top lane from Generation of Prodigies, we have the one only little Asian kid. I might have to find a way to shorten that as well, because that's going to be a interesting one to cast. But yeah, he likes his... Plays dueling top lanes from what I see. He likes a lot of Renekton, some Garen, Darius, Ioriaa, a bit of Camille and TsundereBaka. Actually, lots of Camille recently. Possible ban potential there against Generation of Prodigies.
I do enjoy seeing a good Camille. It's definitely quite a high skill ceiling champion. So if that is played today, I'll be definitely eager to watch that.
Yes. Honestly, we could have some really interesting potential matchups in this top lane. Both having decent pools, and honestly, considering the play, we've only seen Joshua play before. We haven't seen the Asian kid play before. But yeah, I hope it's interesting in that top lane. Jumping down to the jungler for SAS, we have Mr. Oldie, who was actually one who hit me up about these games today. So shout outs. Yesterday having good games on Hecarim, actually getting one of our MVPs yesterday for his game 2 performance on Zac. Zac actually being one of his, main champions. Has a 66% win rate. Zac and Vi are big champions for him. So I think those are definitely ones to watch out for. Flip side, looking at Generation of Prodigies, Jebediah. There's a lot of Master Yi, and a lot of reasons too. I think we think a 63% win rate. Does also play a bit of Graves, Kha'Zix, and Lee Sin, but Yi is the big one.
So, big question. Is there going to be a Yi ban, or is it going to go through because it's a scrim? and you wanna see what the opponent can play. Give them their comfort picks, I think, see how they do, and then in game 2, you can ban them if they're an issue. But I'm always a big fan of letting the opponent play what they play, unless it's a 1 million plus Master Yi or a Yasuo. Yeah, those champions. Maybe we ban them. But anything else, I say let it through. Let them have their moment. If they perform well, we can always ban it. That's what the bans are for. Lots of champions you can always ban in the meantime. Karma, Gangplank, any champion with a hook.
I feel like you have a personal vendetta here.
Surprisingly, not personally, but it seems everybody else does. So I always see a lot of hook champion bans outside of the standard champions that everybody dislikes.
Yes. Actually, speaking of Mr. Windy Man Yasuo himself, SAS's Wind Resolve, the Yasuo one-trick himself, 336 games of Yasuo. Didn't get to play it yesterday because it was double banned. Played Corki and LeBlanc, also earning an MVP for that LeBlanc performance. But actually, Katili from Generation of Prodigies, also a very comfortable Yasuo player. It's both of them. It's their most played champion. So I would honestly, if Yasuo's not banned, I'm expecting him to be pick ban these games.
I think this is probably if this does make it through at least the ban phase, this is probably the first pick Yasuo on blue side, if it goes through, in the history of all of League of Legends, excluding every small rank game.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a first pick blind pick Yasuo in competitive play.
In some form of competitive. We'll even include the collegiate stuff in here. I don't think there's ever been a first pick Yasuo.
So, SAS, you got first pick this game? Think about it, think about it. Jumping down to the AD carries for SAS, we have SNG Trolls. Yesterday, there was a contested MVP for game 1 between Trolls' Misfortune and host Slayer's Ioriaa. But yeah, contested MVP for his Misfortune in game 1, has a decently wide champion pool for this bot lane, good 61% win rate on Caitlyn, never lost a ranked game on Varus this season. And in comparison, Generation of Prodigies with iMake is a Kai'Sa. I'm not going to say one trick because it hasn't only played Kai'Sa this season, but 200 games compared to, I didn't actually note down what the second one was, but a lot less games on Xayah. But it's a decent win rate. Actually looks like calls are being made out to start in both Twitch chat and our lobby chat, so jumping into Champ Select, but just to quick go over the supports are Lord Hostler for SAS, MVP for Leona in Game 1, and for Generation of Prodigies, it's Halo, who has a concerningly small champion pool. But Vladimir being our first ban against Generation of Prodigies. That kind of strikes me a bit weird, because I didn't really have anyone on Generation of Prodigies struck as a Vlad player. Throwing out the Azir ban straight back onto SAS also strikes me as a little bit weird.
Yeah, that's. I mean, I can kind of understand the Vladimir ban. He's quite a 1v9 champion, but Azir, you can always just play Corki into Azir. You can play Orianna, even though she has less range than, so it's a bit nasty, but it seems a bit strange to just ban Azir. But maybe they've got something cooking, and there's the Kai'Sa ban for their AD carry.
A little bit of insight from chat, actually. Apparently in the last scrim, so obviously this isn't the first time these guys have scrimmed together. Last time that these guys scrimmed, I'm not sure whose Twitch that is, but somebody 1v9 them on Vlad. Georged in Stale. So yeah, that could be why the Vlad is coming out.
Fair enough. We're lacking critical information.
Critical information we are missing. But the Caitlyn ban does land onto Trolls. Most picked actually has hit 100 Caitlyn games this season. No surprises there. iMake obviously saying no thank you to that Caitlyn. And TsundereBaka being our final ban, going on to... what do I... Because I feel like Little Asian Kid's a bit too long to say.
The LAK. How about that?
The LAK, yes. LAK himself.
That's also kind of long if you enunciate the letters. So, I don't know. I'm going to go with Little Asian Kid in the lane. I think you can roll it off quickly enough. But
depending on the
if you can
situation,
think-
I think if we're mid-fight, I might just go with Little or Kid. Depends whichever goes. But we do see the first pick Renekton for Joshua. Decent pick for Joshua himself. Obviously, he's got this huge champion pool in that top lane. And it does also pick it away from Little Asian Kid. It's his probably most picked top laner this season, actually, because I, for some reason, wrote Warwick down, even though that's his jungle pick. So yeah, most picked top laner this season. Does have a 60% win rate. But we'll match it
and
with
there's
that
the
Camille, who's got an 86% win rate this season on ranked, and has been playing a lot of recently. So I'm kind of surprised that one went through over the Tryndamere. Maybe SAS deciding that Camille they'd rather deal with than a Tryndamere.
Indeed, and I gotta say, I'm not too familiar with the Camille versus Renekton matchup myself. I feel like it's probably Renekton favoured, but the Camille can outplay if they're very good on the champion. So I'm quite interested to see this top lane matchup. That looks very interesting so far. And then we get a second pick Jarvan. Nice standard jungle. Can farm a lot. Can get some good gank paths.
Yep, a pick
I
I
like it
didn't
so
have
far.
noted down for Jebediah, but obviously one that's not too tricky to pick up and can make a lot of difference.
Here's the Yasuo. Lock it in.
Here's the Windy Man. He made it. Oh, we didn't even notice he made it through. We put so much point on it, and yeah, Windy Man made it through up until the third rotation of picks. Also do want to pick up that Vibe pickup for Mr. Oldie. Really strong pick for him. I did actually highlight that a little bit when we were talking about these picks. But yeah, Wins Resolve. We'll lock in that Yasuo. Oh, finally, we get to see it.
Indeed,
pressure.
and I've noted there's they've also first picked the Renekton, which can be an interesting counter pick that you can play mid lane into the Yasuo. So that's not something that's available, even if it was something to be played. Very heavy AD lineup so far. I'm wondering what they're going to draft bot lane. Obviously, it'd be nice to get some AP, or else, especially Camille and Jarvan, they can just stack some armor items and they'll be very difficult to kill indeed.
Definitely something to think about for SAS. Our last lock-in will be mid lane for Generation Prodigies. Will be Katili on that Victor. Not one of Katili's main picks, but also something I did note down as something that they have played before. Obviously, a little bit experienced with, but not obviously their go-to comfort picks. Which was Yasuo, which from Resolve just snuck away there.
Indeed, and I can kind of see the Azir bad now with Victor. Azir has a pretty obnoxious range in lane. Very good against champs like Ioriaa, Victor, who have long range themselves, but not as much as Azir. So that Azir ban makes a bit more sense now. We've got Victor. You can play a lot of champions into Victor. Anything that can sort of pressure him in early before he gets his first upgrade, where his E will just clear the entire their wave. Though he has to get enough gold for it, so I'd be interested to see either. Well, I guess it's Yasuo in the mid lane, so he's also always good at shoving that in.
Yeah, I do expect that's a matchup that Wind Resolve has played before. We have seen 3 support bans come out in this last pick. A Janna onto Uphalo. I did note down that, yeah, Janna is one of Uphalo's few champion pools. It feels like it's a very small support pool for Uphalo. And Morgana, that's 40% of the picks banned for them that I've noted down. Mirrored
So
for
at
that
least,
Pike and
at
Alistair,
least they've
which
done their
is...
homework slightly.
Yeah, they've obviously done their homework. Obviously return back with the Pike and Alistair, which are Lord Hostlayers, to highest win rates for support this season and most played. So respect bans coming out already for Lord Hostlayer.
Indeed, and here we have it. They've picked Ezreal, the best champion in the bot lane, without a doubt. 100%, 1,000,000%. Ezreal,
1,000%.
1,000%. Whatever
That's
percent
less
you
than a
want.
million.
He has a relatively quick scale and can also itemize very flexibly. My favourite champ. You can play a roaming support, you can play an engaged support, anything goes with Ezreal. Take TP, win the lane. And a Syndra, most likely a Syndra bot, I would assume, but you can never fully rule out Yasuo going bot lane, but I think this will be a Syndra bot to round out this bot lane.
There's potential, actually, because I do have Wind Resolve down as a possible Syndra pick as well. I'd be surprised to see him turn up that Yasuo. But also, I believe... Okay, this was weeks and weeks ago, so I might be wrong, but the one other time we've seen Wind Resolve get the Yasuo through Champ Select I believe he actually did go bot lane with them. This was weeks ago. I think he was actually on a different team at the time as well. So I could be wrong. But there's definitely potential. And we see...
And one thing to note here, there's not really a full tank on the side of Generation of Prodigies unless the Jarvan does go into a sort of a full tank build. With Syndra being the only AP damage on the side of slightly above Synergy. Syndra struggles to kill tanks, and if she's the only magic damage, might be difficult for them to get through the Jarvan, especially if he has some armor and one magic resist item. Be interesting to see. Who do you think is going to win? What comp do you like?
Okay, so if we're looking at drafts alone, I still do like the team of slightly above Synergies, more so than what Generation of Prodigies have drafted. You have highlighted that, yes, they are extremely AD heavy, with that Syndra being their only magic damage source, or only significant magic damage source. I think Nautilus does a little bit, but it's obviously not going to be too much that you've got to think about. But actually, if we look at so you got the Vine, the Nautilus, and the Renekton, and Syndra, all 4 champions, both very capable of, in this sort of early to mid game, finding someone in the river, in the jungle, or even in the lane, and just popping them instantly, which is going to create, well, if they can do this, that is, it's going to create such a easy to build snowball, really. And with the comp they've got, it's not like these champions are going to fall off at 20 minutes. They do scale pretty decently. But then on the side of Generation of Prodigies, it's not like, I'm saying slightly above Synergy are going to win this. It's still a decent comp they've drafted. You did pick up on the fact that they are a little bit lacking a front line, but I would expect to see a Cinderhulk pick up on that Jarvan. And then, of course, if you mix that with the Lulu ultimate, which name I've forgotten, I was going to call it Polymorph then, but that's not quite right. That's the W.
Wild Growth.
Wild Growth, yeah. So mixed with that Wild Growth, that on top of either Jeopardy or Little Asian Kid on that Camille, actually really will help them take this role of that front line. And of course, Ezreal being a ridiculously safe AD carry pick.
In the bot lane.
Yes. Just an insanely safe AD carry picks. I assume he's going to take Conqueror, considering there's 3 tanks or 3 beefy picks in that comp of Slightly Above Synergy. So obviously not going to be bursting anyone out with PTA. And Victor, honestly, good sustain of damage. It fits quite nicely into this comp, especially considering Victor's another champion's ultimate. I can't remember. I'm having a good day today for ultimates.
That's the Chaos Storm.
Chaos Storm, yeah. You mix that with the Hextech Ultimatum and the Cataclysm. Yes, I'm 2 for 2 now. 2 for 4 even.
And the Ezreal ult.
2-shot barrage. 3 for 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you mix that Chaos Storm with the Hextech Ultimatum with that Cataclysm, you're gonna force flashes, force dashes, because that's an insane amount of damage. And actually, the more I talk about the Generation of Prodigies comp, the more I like it.
Indeed. I mean, personally, even disregarding that they've got the best champion in the game, outside of Gangplank, I still think Generation Prodigies have the better team comp overall. Obviously, team comps don't really matter too much if one side just gets snowballed in a lane, so obviously there's always that to account for, but overall, I prefer the Generation Prodigies team. They've got a lot of outs, they've got a lot of flexibility in how they can itemize. I'd be very interested if Ezreal went his tier item into Iceborne into a Leandries. That does a lot of damage, can keep them at range, poke them off objectives, and I think once Renekton's had his little lane spike, the only thing that you'll see him do is potentially get a flash and stun onto one of the key picks, but then hopefully Lulu will be there to save that. So I think Generation Prodigies will team fight much better. They're very good champs for it, but there's definitely some snowball options on the side of slightly above Synergy.
Yes, very well put. We are getting into this load screen. Promise it won't be a black screen forever. It's just always a little bit slow. Thank you, Streamlabs. First time I've actually had to completely shorten the names because both team names have been ridiculously long. Too long for my little panels up there. Quick look at runes. Does anything stand out to you as out of place? We do know it's the Yasuo in mid when Resolve kept it, so Syndra will be bot lane with the trolls. But yeah, runes. Back to that.
Runes, yeah, phase rush on Victor, pretty standard. Lets you do your damage and get away. Very good if you're getting ganked either from the Nautilus or the Vi. Grasp Camille, an interesting matchup. I'm a fan of Grasp on Camille in difficult matchups. It can get you a lot of pressure in lane. You've got Press the Attack on Renekton. Both Press the Attack and Conqueror, both very good runes on Renekton. Press the Attack will help in the shorter trades, which I imagine the trades here from both the Camille and the Renekton will be quite short. I wouldn't expect there to be many extended fights in top lane unless someone is going for a kill. Keynote, there's an Ignite on the Camille, so no TP.
Yeah, that actually did get covered.
Who knows if that'll affect the map too much. But
yeah.
Will there be blood in top lane? Place your bets now. And an Ignite and Victor as well. That's a interesting one, but let's see how that pans out.
Yes, here we are into game now. Let's just fast forward because I'm always a bit slow to load into games here. Crowdfund me an SSD chat. Of course, I'm joking. Yeah, fairly standard fans coming out from both teams here. I'm still waiting for the day where we get a interesting engage. Actually, to hide chat quickly. I forgot that was up here. There you go. Yeah, that's accessible. Cool. So,
I'm a big fan of Invade during scrims. As soon as one team gets 5 kills on Invade, you can just handshake the scrim and say, GG, other team wins. A lot of pro teams do that, so I'd be interested to see a cheeky Invade. Maybe not one of the standard solo queue, either side of River Invade, but maybe something, a bit more subtle. Say like an Invade on either through the top bush or the bottom bushes. A lot of things can happen.
Yep, there is definitely potential for this Invade, but of course both teams playing it safe. This is still game 1 of our, I think, best of 3 today. I didn't get that confirmed. Just a guess. But yeah, I'm going to sort of jump to this top lane rune choice from Joshua. So when I was in Champ Select, I talked about how much the side from SAS had this burst and pick potential. Now, with Joshua taking Press the Attack, that only further cements in my mind that this is what they want to do. Because, well, one empowered W finishes that Press the Attack proc straight away, which means that any other damage source that's coming in from the side of SAS is just going to be so much more potent. And
indeed, and one interesting thing I've noticed in the top lane, it seems to be working quite well for Little Asian Kid, but I would have expected the Camille to go the W first, which is a tactical sweep. Very good, you can get some good poke onto the opponent, but he seems to have done a nice little trade with the Precision Protocol Q start, so we'll see how that top lane matchup develops.
Remembering all those ability names, but we do see Swarm engage in that bot lane. That was an interesting freeze. We're just going to speed up to make sure we're caught up there. But yeah, that grasp is actually keeping Little Asian Kid mostly in line in these top lane trades to compare with Joshua's healing from that Q with Fury. Do you see Jebediah actually hovering in this top side of mid lane? Is Pos actually looking for a gank here? Withdraw very pushed up. But free to walk out in the bottom of the lane. We do see actually, yes, Mr. Oldie is there and ready to fight as well. A huge amount of damage going on to Jebediah straight away. Ignite coming out, but it won't quite be enough. Yeah, it won't quite be enough to finish him off. A nice reaction from Mr. Oldie. And that will force Jebediah back. Only 1 buff taken. But did SAS spot it?
Indeed, and now
side of that jungle.
The viral finish.
Engaging this one actually. A nice stun coming out from Trolls into the root from Host Lair. Heal forced from Oop here. That actually was the one taking heal. I make taking teleport. But yes.
And while that bot lane matchup was going on, we see a nice winning trade from the Camille in the top lane. Looks like actually quite a lot of priority using the shield well.
But back to this bot lane actually, we do see Mr. Oldie is hovering in this bottom bush, waiting for iMake and Oob to step forward. Is it Oob Bear Halo or Oob Halo? I'm not too sure. I'll probably keep changing it as we go. But yeah, he's hovering, he's sticking around.
Uber Halo.
Uber Halo. Yeah, you see Mr. Oldie is in Sako, spending a lot of time here actually. Jebediah free to take the bottom side of his jungle. Mr. Oldie decided not to actually go for that.
And he's being very patient with this gank here. It doesn't like this is happening, but in the fight in the river...
Yeah, meanwhile, Windrov getting caught out by that flag and drag. stealing the scuttle while he's at it and making this path down to bot lane, getting that extra speed where Host Lair, Trolls, and Mr. Oldie are there waiting. Very surprise for the side of TGOP with Mr. Oldie there ready. The flash landing, but it will get instantly stunned by that Victor W, but wins resolve there with the flash into the dash. Lots of damage coming out, Jeopardy very, very low, but will be getting away freely with his life.
And that was a very good gravity field from the Victor there. Stopped them right in their tracks. Beautifully in the middle of the blue side jungle. Obviously, Yasuo gets forward. Doesn't quite get anything from it, but it was a good attempt nonetheless. But a fight in the top lane.
It's unfortunate for Lord Jose as he flashed into it, got stunned immediately. Heavy trades, but Joshua still is able to stay in lane, just the power of that empowered Q heals. So he went D-Blade, I was going to say he has a D-Shield heal as well, but he doesn't. But during the meantime, SAS will pick up this first dragon. It is a... I was going to call that an ocean then. No, it's a cloud dragon will be our first dragon.
Cloud into a mountain dragon. So soul options, ocean or infernal. Obviously ocean, soul is probably the best, if not.
We do see actually Jeopardy going for this flying dragon, getting a nice knock-up onto Host there, but stun command from Trolls will slow them down, but the slow from Uber Halo will secure that first blood when it will go onto iMake.
And there wasn't quite enough reach for that hook. Wasn't quite in time. Difficult situation, but
obviously didn't have that flash as he used that in the last skirmish. Gonna lose a lot of XP there. So yeah, nice.
What's the ESDL going to buy? That's what I want to see.
Is it gonna be tier? Is it gonna be how much gold does he have? He has 1,700 gold, so yeah. I would expect to see both tier and that pickups. Yep, there's tier. Is pickaxe next? Yep, there's pickaxe. Okay. Much better itemization. Obviously, we didn't see this team yesterday, but we're not going to be seeing a 28-minute Manamune completion this game.
Truly, and truly unfortunate, but as things are coming out, relatively even in gold despite the kills. There's only a 100 gold difference, and obviously we've not accounted for some of the waves that are coming in. There'll be a nice 2-wave stack in the bot lane to pick up, so that'll equalise or get them even a bit more of a gold lead. And seems like all the lanes are just farming away. The Victors, I know, quite low on CS compared to the Yasuo.
CS is Windsor actually over double Katili's CS at this point, so that's obviously a large gold discrepancy comes in these two teams. 1,600 to 2,100, ladies and gentlemen, that's how much CS means. About 10 CS difference in the bot lane, but
a longsword on the Jarvan. Not sure about this build, but
that's not looking like a Cinderhulk. Maybe they do trust the wild growth enough, but we do see a stun engage coming out from Joshua in the top lane. Little Asian kid will be using that double dash away. Do you know what Camille's dashes are called?
That would be the hook shot.
Hook shot. You, the expert in these skill
Both
names.
parts of it.
That or you just clicking and hovering them. But I'm gonna trust that you're the expert and you already know all of this.
I've been sat here with my hands together in like a little ball, just watching. Direct to camera is a great tool. Don't need to do anything.
Direct to camera really is a good tool until you're mid-fight and it stops you. But actually, we do see that hookshot coming in onto Joshua. Jeopardy there in the background. Ultimate coming from Joshua, but the Hextech ultimatum will keep him still as he will fall to the insane amounts of damage that Little Asian Kid and Jeopardy are putting out this early on in the game. Mr. Ollie just wasn't there fast enough.
Not quite in time to be able to counter gank that. It's always sad when you see both parts of the Renekton dash used during the Hextech ultimatum, but
he wasn't there for top, but will flash Q engage mid lane. Katili will flash straight away to respond to that, yes. But yeah, the Hextech ultimatum really just made it difficult for Joshua to get away there at all. Because I reckon without that, he would have been able to get to Mr. Oldie, and actually, I don't think that fight would have gone too much different. He took a lot of damage even before that ultimate came down. But a hook actually landing onto Oop Halo should be enough. Trolls obviously not having that stun ready to follow up. So Herald is alive.
It is, and I'm a big fan of first Herald. Not a big fan of second Heralds, like we seem to see a lot of it taken. Second Herald only gets you around 100 gold. I've seen it taken when like all of the jungle camps are up. Farm those, you'll get more XP, you'll get more gold. Damage on the tower is nice, but not really worth it. But first Herald is very good.
I think it entirely depends where you put that Herald down and which towers you're taking. But yes.
It does, but I personally value the gold you get from the camps, especially once you hit level 9 on junglers. You get a lot more XP from the camps then, so it's always good to just farm those, race to 9, and get a lead.
Yes, we do see not even first herald being taken, so maybe we won't be seeing the second herald this game. Buff will be donated over to Katili in this time, will help his lane phase. Hopefully CS a little bit better into Wind's Resolve there. I think that's a problem with this Yasuo into Victor matchup, in the fact that Wind's Resolve can sustain as long as he wants, as long as he just keeps shoving the waves in, forcing Katili to blow all his mana on these waves to get as much CS as possible. It's really hard for Katili to actually have any pressure, because he will be blowing all his mana just to get some gold.
Indeed, and it's worth knowing he's not got his core item yet, or his core first upgrade. That's quite pivotal on the Victor. If I was the Victor, I'd like essentially the Jarvan to just always be mid, make so he can't just perma-shove, or at least punish him for doing so.
Speaking of Jarvan, the flag drag would come out from Jeopardy, but a nice scatter of the week from Trolls to deny that.
Indeed, that stunned him before the drag even started, so
very well played. In the meantime, we did see Mr. Oldie pick up that first Herald.
I like seeing the Victor trade with this blue, doing a lot better. TGOP, gonna start
with hovering around this dragon. Ultimate coming out will smash Jeopardy into the floor, but the wild growth will not be enough to save him from the Yasuo ultimate. Last breath. Did have to quickly check that one. Ultimate names are just not my forte.
Yeah, and it's always a bit rough. The assault and battery straight into Nautilus into Yasuo. Never
see,
nice.
Actually, Lord Host there going for this pick onto Oop Halo, but Wind's Resolve was too low from this dragon and will be picked up instead by Katili. Mr. Oldie and also just slowly being whittled down by Katili here. Flash was forced. Oh, not Flash, the dash was forced, but it wasn't enough to save him from Katili's empowered E.
And interestingly enough, there's we've not seen any TPs come out from Renekton. Obviously, the Camille's quite good. She's got 2 tools that can interrupt the TP. Obviously, the hook shot with the stun. And I believe if she Hextech ultimate into the Renekton during the TP, it won't go through. Might need citation on that one, but
I think there's a micro stun on that first jump. But I think if she's used it and then he starts teleporting, I think he can TP away. Okay. But yeah, citation needed. I don't think either of us are Camille players. I know I'm not. But yeah, we're on an Ocean Soul. If the side of TGOP can pick this up, this will really help with their small lack of front line, shall we say.
Indeed, and I think if you're TGOP, definitely fight for the next one. Oh, we've got a fight breaker.
We actually have that hook shot landing onto Joshua, but Mr. Oldie is there, ready to follow up as well as Resolve in the river. Little Asian kid pushed a little bit too far, not knowing the fact that Mr. Oldie and Wind's Resolve read his mind, knew he was going to go disengage on Joshua, and were there to follow it up. We do see that Herald throw in top lane. We might most likely see first tower go here, as Jeopardy is in this bottom side jungle doing Mr. Oldie's wraiths. There's a lot of plating gold going over there.
Indeed, and you can see some pings come out from Trolls pinging the Renekton TP. You've got a nice little ward in the rear tribush, and a very nice TP flank spot. I think he's a bit busy at the minute getting this first tower, but there definitely could be something in the middle.
You see Jeopardy actually coming into this mid lane, looking for that flag and drag, but Wind's Resolve dashing all around, making it hard for him to pick a spot, doing a lot of damage, but actually will flash away from the Cataclysm. Will flash, the Wind will block the Q from Katili, and that will walk under the tower, but Wind Resolve will be getting away with his life. Katili and Jeopardy both looking super low. Invested so much for that kill, but Wind's Resolve, being the windy man, dashed his way away.
And not too sure how he escaped there, but flash taken. I expect to see more ganks mid to at least punish that.
Yeah, we did see it was a very, very delayed flag and drag from Jeopardy, which meant that actually they didn't get that lockdown, and then Windrel having that flash to just flash away from Cataclysm, he was very safe. But you picked about this ward, TP coming in from Joshua at the stun landing onto iMake, but we'll use that Arcane Shift to get away, but a nice knock up into the stun from Joshua. Get that shutdown gold. Very nice TP.
You hate to see it. I would have loved to wait to see the polymorph just onto the Renekton. Would have rendered it a bit easier to get out, but difficult situation indeed.
Did we see who she did polymorph? Or she put off the tool? Maybe it was
I
in cooldown.
didn't catch that one, but it
I think
was
it
on
might have been in cooldown then.
I presume it was the Nautilus.
Yeah.
Or would hope it's the Nautilus, if not.
Managed to miss that one. Or maybe it was used as a move speed buff to get I make a little bit further away. Either way, it didn't quite work out. I make will be falling there. Which stuff? Actually, we talked about how he's now flashless. And little Asian kid is there in this top lane. The hookshot will not land, and he'll be there just free to walk away.
And the flash was available for little Asian kid if he wanted to extend the hookshot with the flash. It's a very nice little combo, and you could follow up with the Hextech ultimatum. I'm pretty sure the radius of gravity field would be enough to essentially get the free stun once the ultimatum comes in. So could have been a free kill, but it would have been a lot of resources to do it. So we'll see how it goes now.
Yeah, we are just hitting that 15-minute mark into the game. SAS are just about 1,000 gold ahead, but they're 2 dragons ahead as well. If you were the Guardians of... Wait, no, not the Guardians, the generation of Prodigies, what's your play here? So you're starting to fall a little bit behind.
So, I wouldn't be too worried if I was them. Fighting the top lane, a quick trade.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Hookshot goes wide. But yeah. Ooh, fighting the mid lane, Yasuo, 3rd Q, where's the ult?
Yeah, he's pretty safe. But yeah, you're not too worried about this sort of gold starting to fall behind?
I'm not too worried. Can you see how much gold Ezreal's sitting on at the minute?
Ezreal is currently sitting on 600, just 700 gold. Has got that finished at Manamune. Oh, Mirror Mana even. Not quite a Manamune fully stacked yet. Is that the way around? But actually, the Flag Drag will land on Twin's Resolve, dashing away. Actually, Upeida giving him the escape from that Cataclysm there, but the Assault and Battery landing onto Jebediah will put him in a interesting spot. The ult land controls will go onto him, but the Wild Growth keeping him alive for just a little bit longer, but not enough to save his life.
And it looked like that could have been a potential kill there, but unfortunately not. Ocean Drake, this is probably going to go to the side of slightly above synergy. I think once Ezreal has his either his Triforce item or his other Sheen item, the name's forgetting me at the minute, but
Triforce or Iceborne Gauntlet, I think you mean.
Iceborne Gauntlet, that's the one. But I think he should be quite strong. I'm expecting his.
Actually, a lot of heavy trade coming from Josh from this top lane. The hookshot will land to stun for a little bit, but with that Bork heat and Flash coming out from both of them, Hextech Ultimatum will just slow down little Asian's kid death by just a little bit.
Do not want to fight Renekton once he's got his completed Bork, especially if you're just on Tabby Tiamat. It's not
Hadn't
a
actually
good. It's
finished
not a
that
good
Tiamat at that point. Only had the Ruby Crystal and Longsword, which made it a little bit hard to get away, not getting that extra move speed on hit as well. And it looks like they're looking for Herald number 2. You said you didn't like it, but
I don't like it. I can see. Look, you've got 3 camps up, 4 camps up now. You get them. That's 400 gold.
I think it depends what they do with it. Because I'd really like to see them throw this Herald and open up the mid tower. Because if they open up the mid tower, this is their game to take. It puts them in such a strong position. And you'll see, we do see it picked up by Mr. Oldie. And is pathing towards mid. Ping's actually coming out on towards Katili. But that dredge line will not land. And he'll be walking away somewhat safely. I'm hesitant to say safely at all. And there's that Herald that drops down.
Where's the gravity field? Gravity field in front of the tower. It's a little bit late, but some trade on. Tower's gonna fall.
And that'll be mid-tower taken down. We see Ping's coming out into this top lane actually on to Joshua. Jebediah and Malaysian Kid getting that hookshot into the flag and drag. Joshua without the Dominus will most likely fall here. Will not have the health to survive. Cataclysm will come out just to hold him a little bit still. But Jebediah taking a lot of damage here. So the shutdown will be going onto the Malaysian Kid. Jebediah is actually super squishy. We were saying we didn't actually... Mr. Oldie was walking to the spot lane to help Trolls finish off I make. My brain sort of lagged there. I saw all this happening. I was like, yes, this is fine. This is fine. I was like, wait, no, this is not fine. Anyway, yes.
Indeed. Obviously, you had the Vi coming down. I think that was pretty free for the Syndra, even regardless. But I want to know how that situation sort of happened. How do you sort of get into a situation on Ezreal where you ever die in a 1v1? Bit strange, but I didn't see that one happen. I was watching the top lane, as you mentioned.
I was also watching that top lane. I haven't seen Kai'Sa, I make use that teleport tool this game. So maybe a different summoner could have been more useful to him. I had a point before. Oh yeah. You know when we saw Jarvan just with that first tier of the jungle item, we were like, okay, that's not a Cinderhawk coming out. We're seeing longswords. It's
And he's now got a Cinderhawk.
yeah, he finished that Cinderhawk.
He's taking us for a ride.
He's listening to us. He almost definitely isn't listening to us. But, you know, in spirit, I'd like to think he was. Which actually is going to make him a much better frontline for the side of the generation of Prodigies. I shortened it to TGOP because the name was too long. But when I'm not mid-fight, I feel like I should be saying the full name. I just forgot it because we have... I see TG and my brain goes to the Guardians of the Rift, who are another team that we frequently cast.
So, what I want... So, coming up for this next dragon fight, hopefully Ezreal will have his tier completed. If we hover on Ezreal,
actually.
I'm expecting him
694
to be spamming
stats.
abilities.
It's going to be close.
It's going to be close.
So
I mean, I
694
think
stacks, dragons in a minute and a half. Yeah, he should have that done completed.
Yeah.
You see Joshua getting a lot of damage onto the Legion Kid here. The Dominus is popped. The Legion Kid just melting down with that percent health damage over time. And the Legion Kid will be dead. Oh, I've just propped that map. There we go.
And the true
Accidentally
shot
fat frame
going to
doing
mid lane.
binding.
Hopefully he can queue some targets to get that cooldown back for the dragon. But yeah, this is kind of when we want to see Ezreal. He'll have his tier item. He'll have his ice spawn. Hopefully he can get a lot of work done. I want to see Camille in the top lane stopping Renekton from coming to this dragon fight.
Although Joshua does have
4v4
TP, so
is
should
quite
have to be there
possible.
ready. Did you spot when iMake used teleport? Because that was up, and then we had this little sky shop lane, and now it's gone. I'm not quite sure what he teleported for.
That is a good point. I mean, it was quite a while ago. It's more than
that top
30%
fight,
of that
yeah. So
cooldown.
obviously missed out on that one a little bit. But they will take that bottling tower. Other notable things to see: Lord Jose did put that Knight's Vow onto Trolls, but actually Mr. Audi getting a nice pick onto the Legion Kid here. But the Jeopardy engage will catch both Winds and Trolls. Trolls forced to flash away there. But we do see Mr. Audi taking a lot of damage in this front line. The 1-for-1 resolve getting a nice ultimate in the back line of TGOP. And a nice double knock up into Joshua's Q will force them away. Won't take place of life. And as I make low on that as we're using the Arcane Shift to get away. Looking at that 2-for-1 overall. It's
Okay,
Mr.
so
Oldie dead, Jeopardy alive. Are they going to risk taking this dragon?
I think Slightly Buff Sinji is going to get the dragon. They'll get the Ocean Soul, and it's pretty free from there. I don't think they can, unless Ezreal has some hero play.
Well, Jeopardy is alive,
coming.
speeding in. I don't think he's been there in time. His dragon's already on 2,500 health. And he's parking towards mid lane. This will be Ocean Soul going over to SAS.
And that feels pretty bad at this point.
It does. Is
No
there...
executioners or grievous wounds yet. A lot of champions that can easily apply it, but I think this might be this one might be in the bag now. Ocean Soul is insanely strong, even with just 2. So I'd expect them to just push into Baron, get some vision in red side, take the Baron and win. Pretty simple way to end the game, especially with Ocean Soul.
I feel like once this comp from SAS does have Baron, they can send Joshua top. That tower's already looking super low. I'll probably go a 1-4-0, considering they don't have that TP ready. And actually just pushing these 2 waves with a champion like Israel on the side of TGOP. Their wave clear obviously isn't the best. Victor does almost make up for that, as with his empowered E doing those 2 charges. But as stun actually landing onto iMake into the dredge line, but they will be caught out in the 4v3. The wild growth coming out will keep Trolls alive a little bit longer, but it's not enough in this 5v3. Trolls and Host there both fallen, and the flash Hextech ultimatum to keep Winds Resolve in, but he will pull back over the wall and will fall to the comp of TGOP. A nice pick coming out, evening out the kills, not quite even out the gold, but a Baron being pinged. TGOP, this is huge. We do see...
We've got Renekton, we've got Vi. Can the Ancient Soul do it?
Yeah, Mr. Oldie and Joshua are hovering around. It's a 2v5. Actually, Mr. Oldie getting a nice bit of damage onto Upayload, but we'll channel that ultimate onto iMake, but he will not quite get away as Joshua pops that Dominus to finish him off. They're currently 2-for-1 ahead in this trade. Dominus slowly taking down Little Asian Kid, but Joshua will fool Katili, doing a nice bit of damage over time there. But it will stop the Baron.
Stop the Baron now that Syndra and the Nautilus are around.
And that was the important play.
Could have been a lot worse.
Yeah, the important play for SAS was to stop that Baron, and Joshua and Mr. Oldie going 2 for 2 actually overall. And stopping it. Very well played by both of them.
In the end. Assault and battery. It's a great skill. Not that much you can do about it. I would have liked to see the polymorph just come onto the Vita as she was charging her Q, and then the entire team just turns. Hopefully lock her down before she can get that off, but...
I feel like I've been missing all the polymorphs this game. I don't know if it's me or if it's Upele. I'm assuming it's me. Just missing out where they're being thrown. Yeah, I just don't see them in the team fights.
I think it came out, but it was definitely a bit much later, because at least if you polymorph the Vio, she's charging her Q, and she doesn't have that ability anymore, and it's hopefully a bit more easier to cat her around.
So I'll be looking out for that one next time. Important item pickups, we do see that iMake will pick up the Executioner's Calling. Important considering now the SAS do have that Ocean Soul. No other hitting reduction items picked up by TGOP, but actually Katili in an interesting spot, a nice stun from Trolls into the dredge line. Katili will not be able to get away from that unleashed power. Just slightly out of position.
Goes over walls.
It does. It goes over walls. He did flash, and it will follow you when you flash. Once that unleashed power has been cast, there is no getting away from it. Minus Wind Wall or any stasises or Mr. Ults, any of those. It feels like actually get blocked by a lot of things.
And I liked how they almost walked up as if they would say, yeah, let's defend the tower, and then it's like, you know what? They have Ocean Soul.
The tower was very low already.
It was about 30% health, so definitely one to just let go. It's definitely easier to just defend the 2 outer inhibs and then the mid tier 2. You get a nice little circle, and you don't need to spend too much on vision there. It's definitely not easy to turtle from that point. But I do want to see them try and hold this mid tier 2.
Yeah, the True Shot Barrage actually did help them a lot hold this tower cleared out an entire wave and put the rest of that second wave already pretty low as well. I don't think all is quite lost yet for TGOP. We did see them make this amazing pick out on to SAS, stepping a little bit too far just with the 2 of them. And I think, whilst it's definitely not in their favour right now, it's definitely not over. Did you see?
And you can see Ezreal's itemizing towards his death stance. That'll make him a lot more resilient. They'll be able to get a lot of Qs out on the side of the fights. So when we see the death stance complete, maybe they can take a fight. But Ocean Soul is unbelievably strong. I wouldn't be surprised if slightly above Sinji just start a Baron.
Yep, they are clearing the vision around it. If we do take a little bit of a look on the vision on the map, they have some vision in this topside jungle from TGOP. And if you flip the map, there's actually some missing pinks come out because there's a lack of vision on the top side now. They just have that one pink in the banana bush. Well, that's not banana bush, that's red buff bush. Banana bush is blue buff. Gotta learn my bushes too. Just extra ones because of Infernal Soul just throw out all this confusion. And
I don't think we're gonna get any fights just yet unless there's some mispositioning. Although lots of pings coming down on the blue side.
Mr. Oldie, just gonna clear these walls. Stepping a little bit far forward, but the potential 4v4, Jeopardy a little bit behind. I think SAS want to play this slow because Joshua can just push this top wave the whole time.
He can, and as long as they just poshed it around it, I don't think TGOP are ever going to actually start the Elder. They got to make a decision.
Hovering.
Who's going to go for Renekton?
Q from Mr. Oldie was charged, but it wasn't completed. But we do see Elder actually started by Little Asian Kid. The True Shot Barrage coming out to get a little bit of damage onto Trolls will proc from himself shield. And they're taking this decently quickly. Jeopardy actually going for that flag drag engage. Mr. Oldie will hit. And a lovely Hextech Ultimatum will come out, but it's not quite enough as the rest of SAS will just melt through this comp. I think it was Little Asian Kid and Jeopardy and Katili just stuck. It felt like the Hextech Ultimatum was used against TGOP there.
And credit to the Vi there that the Assault and Battery wasn't even needed to flash, but just taking a good 20-40% of their health away. They've got Elder, they're going to walk to Baron, they'll just win the game. Don't think there's anything too much more to be had here, unless they decide to go fountain diving for some kills.
And even then they have Elder. Elder with Ocean Soul, it's tough. And there's already minions on that Nexus tower. Oob and Cthulhu and Imec, everyone's spawning now, ready to at least defend their Nexus Tower, but they will not be alive in time to defend for this Baron.
So they've got the Elder Dragon, they've got the Baron, they're gonna base, pick up some gold, and now they get to farm for the best objective in the entire game. They get to farm for not the Nexus. They're farming for player of the game recognition.
Of course.
This is the part where they need to
MVP.
Really use everything. Get some more kills, pad their stats.
Yes, of
all
course.
For that play in the game.
Pad their stats looking for that MVP award. I think I was just having a look at the SAS as they reset there, looking for notable items. So you see most of the Death Dance being picked up by Wind Resolve, as well as that QSS. GA, I think, was just finished by Joshua. I believe Trolls already had that Hourglass. I think that was just some extra AP there. Actually, not as big item pickups as I was expecting.
Yeah, nothing too much has changed. A lot of the champions are in sort of spots where there's not many completions. You know, you've got the Syndra's looking for her death cap, expensive. Also got a blasting wand, not sure what that's going to build into. I think you just want to go into the death cap there. In the mid lane goes down. Are they going to walk to bot lane? Looks like they are, with a Renekton walking a wave in top.
Yeah, we do see the rest of SAS are walking bot. And Joshua is top. There's no one here. He's coming in with this nice big super wave. And he's just sitting there. Elder, Ocean, Baron, GA already. It's raid boss Renekton.
It is. It's raid boss entire team, but definitely Renekton's.
And then see the 5 of them are all ready to deal with Joshua. But SAS are just taking towers in this bottom lane. Let's have a zoom out here. We can see them in spot lane while we see Joshua up in that top lane. Inhibitor started taking down. I see that in top Nexus tower already almost dead from those minion waves he's been shoving in.
Indeed, and I think at this point we're just sort of in the closing out the game formalities. Eventually, TGOP are going to make a last-ditch attempt engage. We're going to see a flash flag drag to try and get a miracle fight, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Yeah, first Nexus tower falling, second Nexus tower falling. There's your flash flag drag hitting 3 members into the Cataclysm, into the Wild Growth, but it will just be a dead Jeopardy, as well as just the rest of his bot lane. Imec and Uber just going to fall as well. Joshua tanking that Nexus turret. It's Fountain Tower even.
Renekton goes into the fountain. That's play of the game material right there. Just saying. Fountain diving will get you lots of points on this cast.
You know how to win over us. It's dive the fountain.
Yeah. You get double points if you're on a perfect game KDA, and you dive the fountain anyway.
And even more if you survive. But yeah, that
even
will
more
be
if you survive.
Game 1. Whilst we wait for that invite to Game 2, Russ MVPs. We can't skip this.
MVPs. That's a good question. So I think MVP for slightly above Synergy. I think I'll give that to Mr. Moldy. He's got a nice simple little.
There's not a second M there. It's just Mr. Oldie. But yes.
So you're right. His jungling was that good. It made me think his name was incorrect. That's what it was. That's play of the game material right there too. When your play is that good, someone gets your name wrong. But yeah, I think he had quite a lot of presence. Early counter gank in the mid lane was very nice, and just a lot of pressure all around.
Yeah, very strong actually performance coming out from Mr. Oldie. Apparently not an uncommon mistake. What about your MVP for Generation of Prodigies on the losing side?
That's a good one. So I'm having a think. What about you? I'll hear your thoughts.
For the
just
losing side?
Collect myself. For either side.
Okay, so for me, on the losing side, I would give it to Jeopardy. On that Jarvan, honestly, I think, despite obviously not all these ganks going his way, there was some quality engages, and especially mixed with the players' Wild Growth and the Hexag Ultimatum, there was so much potential. And actually, out of that whole team, I think played the best. Marcy might want to jump into spectator. Oh, you can't actually, can you? But
yeah, I can't. There's
for SAS, slightly above Synergy. I'm torn. If we run this down, Joshua had solid performance on that right in the top lane. It was a little bit shaky early game, but of course with visits from Jebediah, Jarvan did skew things over. Mr. Oldie on the Vi, consistent performance all game with those. So like a lot of those times we saw, I think it was like one Dragon Fight I saw, where we saw the Hextech Ultimatum come down from the Asian kid, and actually I thought the Hextech Ultimatum was onto the Asian kid's team because of just the amount of lockdown we saw, and a lot of that lockdown was from Mr. Oldie on that Vi. So very notable play there. If we look at Wind Resolve in the mid lane on that Yasuo, solid performance. It felt like sometimes he was a little bit away from the rest of his team during these team fights, which there was sometimes it got super close. Like, close to him falling. So I think maybe not towards the MVP there. And then look at this bot lane. I mean, I think I have to agree with you actually, that the MVP would go on to Mr. Oldie on that Vi. Just having a little think about the whole team, and I think
well, my MVP was Mr. Moldy.
Oh, sorry, yeah, your MVP was Mr. Moldy.
Mr. Moldy, MVP. Good job, sir. I salute you.
I'm sorry,
MVP for the losing team. I think I'll give that to the Camille. I did quite like the early laning. Obviously, the whole game isn't based on laning phase, but I like how it was played. I saw some quite nice trades in top lane, and just a few mistakes near the end with the Renekton item completions, but you do what you can do.
Yes, it was an unfortunate game for the Generation of Prodigies, but yeah, Little Asian Kid did have a performance in that top lane and alongside the rest of the game. Some ready checks been coming out. Things to note actually, for SAS, Winds Resolve will be taking a step back this game and letting Black Rose 1312 step into this mid lane position.
Is that a LeBlanc main?
I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you. I forgot to scout Black Rose. Because okay, so I was sent both the OPGGs and I just clicked on those, and below that there was a note saying, oh yeah, for the second game, Black Rose will be stepping in instead of Winds Resolve, and I just totally forgot to scout that. So that's my bad. Yeah, we're just waiting for the 80 carry of Generation Prodigies.
We'll make assumptions based on their name. So, what I'm thinking, Black Rose.
Should we have a look at their profile? 1312.
You know, that's sounds like LeBlanc, sounds like Zyra.
Oh no,
1312. That sounds like that reminds me of like a Vayne kind of ID. Just
so actually,
at the end of a gamer tag.
Lots of Azir. 100k points in that Azir. Let's have a look at these stats, shall we? This is our quick scouting that we missed.
Checkpoint 3. What an honourable player.
Actually, no LeBlanc in that mid lane pick. We see Azir, Galio, Lux, GP, Kel. Yeah, actually a pretty small champion pool. If this isn't an alt account, possibly quite concerned. Actually, let's flip that to have a look at normals as well. Where's mid? Yeah, she doesn't really play mid in normals as well. Oh, that's mid, blind, and draft. Yeah, I'm a little bit worried. Maybe flex as well. Yeah, I feel like you ban Azir and that's it. Black Rose is out of the standings here. That's an Azir one trick. Look at that match history. Wow. Okay. Liking the Azir with some John games on the side. There you go. There's our scouting for Black Rose in that mid lane.
As you can tell, we are very thorough with our prep here. Very thorough indeed.
Extremely thorough, of course. What other way would it be?
Gangplank is the second best champion in the entire game, and he does play Gangplank. Maybe not as much mid lane, but in the top lane, it's definitely got some matchups that you can abuse quite heavily. And of course, he scales quite well into the late game, as well as having the global pressure with his ult. Maybe we're not going to see it mid lane, but there's always a chance.
Well, if I look at the rest of my notes, Joshua, the top laner for Slightly Above Synergy, also plays Gangplank. Possible flex pick we see in this mid and top lane.
I mean, we've seen 3 games of Slightly Above Synergy, and I'm pretty sure Gangplank has been open in all 3 of the games. We've not seen it picked.
Yeah, no, we've seen Mordekaiser, Jace, and Renekton, so no Gangplank has been picked.
Exactly. So I
There's
think
potential.
there's potential, and I'd like to see it, but I think if you wouldn't proactively pick it when it's open, maybe just prefer other champions. I'm a big fan of Gangplank. A lot of damage, a lot of utility. Play against Gangplank as a melee matchup, and tell me how that feels.
Yeah,
Pretty impressive in lane. Trial by
SAS,
fire.
if you're out there,
surprising damage.
listen up.
Yeah.
Listen
This
out.
is Joshua,
GP is the
Laven
pick.
Kid, Black Rose 1312, Gangplank, highest priority pick ban.
Did you do finger
What
guns
about
with that?
Ezreal?
I heard the
Gangplank.
click. Is that finger guns?
It was.
I'm very happy.
It was a double finger gun.
Oh, double finger guns as well. Looks like we're just having a small bit. You forgot to look at Nautilus boots. Okay. Now, I want to throw out a guess. Did Nautilus build Moby boots? We don't have Gavin here to talk about Moby boots today, but did Nautilus buy Moby boots?
I actually saw what boots it was, and it was because it was written in chat, so I don't think I'm allowed to guess here because I know what boots they were, but
Well, they
have my
boots.
seal of approval. So we're coming into pick ban now. We've got Generation of Prodigies on the blue side. Let's see what the first ban's going to be. Let's see the GP ban. Let's see the Azir ban. Let's see the Midfield ban.
Yeah, honestly, I'd be surprised to go through without an Azir. There he goes. Azir ban straight away. No surprises there. Through our quick scouting that, maybe slightly above synergy. The Generation Prodigies, we swapped sides now. Maybe the Generation Prodigies did the same thing. They went and looked at that profile and saw, wow, Azir. And just decided no. Interesting to see what else Black Rose plays, because I don't... This could be the GP. This could be the GP.
Vladimir ban.
Yeah, another Vladimir ban. Actually, this is, I believe, the second game we've seen SAS ban Vladimir.
Indeed. I guess that the scrim where Vlad must have run in. He probably had Phase and Ghost. He probably ran in. 5-man Hemoplague, Tides of Blood. It's a lot of damage.
Mm-hmm. And
I can understand it.
What I think I missed this one last game when they banned the Vladimir. Katili, Vladimir, 7-0 this season, has not lost a game. Katili be feeling rather threatened right now. They're being other way around. They're feeling rather threatened by Katili and it's Vladimir.
And then there's the Kaiser ban. What's I guess if the champs banned, the AD can't make any Kaiser drawings.
Maybe that's for the best.
So we'll see, and then we see a Pike ban come in.
Yeah, Pike ban directed towards Lord Hostslayer. Most played champion this season in ranked. That's solid 65% win rate. Respect bans going there. Is there anything you're expecting first pick from Generation of Prodigies here? The Astra is open. If Katili wants it.
The Astra is open. The GP is open. Master
GP
Yi
is
is
open.
open. We've made it through.
All these, I want to say important picks, but we haven't actually seen them play it. So, actually, opting instead for the Caitlyn. That's actually an interesting. If they lock this in, it'll be an interesting pick because that's a denial pick away from trolls. So has after Kaiser has a decent pool of AD carries that he's played a lot less than Kaiser, but has played. Whereas trolls, when we look, has actually got 100 Caitlyn games this season, so that's his most comfortable champion, or his most frequently picked. I like that pick away from him.
Yeah, and obviously Caitlyn's recently had a buff where she's got 5 more move speed, and I believe they increased her base AD a little bit. Makes it a little bit easier to. It's a little bit easier to bully in lane. The move speed is nice to get your auto. If you've ever been in lane and you've gone to CS and Caitlyn's just smacked you with an auto, not nice. That the move speed definitely helps with that. So it's a good pick overall. We've got Malphite locked in.
Yep, Malphite, another pick in Joshua's huge pockets of picks. I don't think Joshua's really a player you can ban out too much. As I said, he's got the widest champion pool from what of my 15-minute scouting whilst I ate my dinner today. The Galio locked in. I believe that was one of Black Rose's other picks we saw in that 2-minute profile scout we did. Not a terrible blind pick. Obviously,
just saying now, Gangplank into Malphite. It's a pretty good matchup. He'll never be able to Q you down because you have an infinite amount of sustain with biscuits,
Infinite amount of oranges.
Oranges, corrupting pot, and Lee Sin comes in. What do you think of this pick? Have you seen it been played yet?
Not by Jeopardy. This is our second game seeing Generation Prodigies play. But Lee was one of the picks I had down for Jeopardy, unlike the Jarvan, who I didn't even have on my notes. So maybe Jeopardy is going to be Jebba Lee this game. I'm so sorry. That was a terrible plan. We see that we had a Yasuo hovered, but Katili deciding actually Syndra is the pick he'd rather have this game. Syndra into Galio, I honestly don't mind the matchup. It's unlikely that Syndra's going to be going for any kills there. I wouldn't be surprised to see Galio just take a double magic resist rune and say to Syndra, you're going to take phase rush and you're going to farm this game, which is a viable option. But
Indeed, and Galio can do a surprising amount of damage if you're not careful.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of the double AP into resistance runes. You know, you can poke them out down with Q, level 2, level 3. If you're not respecting, a lot of damage that comes in.
A lot of damage indeed. Our next set of bans, SAS again looking towards Halo in that bot lane. As I talked a little bit about last champ select, Halo has from what I scouted anyway, a worryingly small champion pool. I counted 5 champions. And one of those actually wasn't really a support. It's what they've been playing mid. It's a Lux, but of course Lux can be flexed to support as well. Not my favourite support, but it's a thing.
And key focus ban here, we've had the Sorcerer Shoes, Boots, Northless band.
Was it Sorcerer Shoes?
You know, very common on that champion.
Oh, I
obviously.
missed that out.
So
it wasn't Moby Boots.
The ban away. We'll have no shoes on.
No more Sorcereless.
Northless. No Sorcereless. I hate it, but I love it.
Oh, I hate the puns. I'm very sorry. And then the Janna ban as well going on to Halo. 60% of Halo's champion pool once again, 40% even taken away. MS ban landing as well onto Trolls. That was the second most comfortable pick after Caitlyn. My brain says Xayah is the pick. Watch it happen.
I like Xayah or Ashe. Both kind of work. I think Ashe is nicer into Caitlyn. We've got the Rakan.
I said Xayah. I'm reading your mind, SAS. What should happen? It's not going to be Xayah now. They're baiting me. Yeah.
Come on. Gangplank, not Volibear. God damn it. Okay.
Gangplank. We want the Gangplank. You know we want it, and that's not Gangplank.
Looks like hovering between Karma and Leona.
Karma
is also the best champion in the game.
If you'd have picked Gangplank, that's like a free MVP from Russ. I'm just saying. If that's what you're wanting.
You get a free MVP and you win the game. Like, that's pretty good. Just saying.
So yeah, we do see a Volibear locked in for Little Asian Kid and that top lane. Currently has an 80% win rate in Volibear this season, but I think that's only over 10 games, so something to consider there. And it'll be Leona for Halo. Not something I've noted down for them, but actually with this comp, I like Leona. It matches the engage and dive potential that Volibear has, that I guess Lee Sin has as well. And that Syndra can set up with that Scared of the Week. And there's the Xayah lock-in.
The lovers duo.
Call me the predictor.
You did call it.
Thingy. Yes. One of those.
Now, what I want to see here is I want to see both of them take Hail of Blades, W start, and I want to see them level 1 kill the Caitlyn Leona.
Ooh.
If you're not expecting it, it's a lot of damage.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be expecting it. But also, I'm a bad bot laner. So, you know, maybe I make an Oob will be expecting this. Now that we've just pointed
it's
out. It's
cheese, but it's the finest cheese.
The finest quality cheese. Okay, but looking at these comps overall, whose draft do you prefer?
Can I veto this? Like, I hate both of these drafts.
Ooh.
It saddens me that one team will end up winning this game. I think these drafts are...
Look, just because they didn't pick Gangplank doesn't make them terrible.
Even regardless of the Gangplank.
So, irregardless of the Gangplank, you hate both drafts. Why'd you hate them?
Because, well, firstly, irregardless is not actually a word. But regardless of that, if I have to pick one, I'll go with Generation of Prodigies. I like the range on Caitlyn. Volibear's still quite strong. He can control the wave quite well with his passive. Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of the lineup of slightly above synergy. You can look for some picks, and Malphite's always good if you clump incorrectly, but overall, I like the draft of Generation of Prodigies. Whoever wins will be whoever plays better. I don't think the team comps are that important this game.
I do agree with you that I like Generation Prodigy's draft more than Slightly Above Synergies. Slightly Above Synergies feels like there's a lot of pressure on trolls, I think.
Oh, definitely. I highly expect to see just every single member of the team bot lane permanently. Carry through Xayah, carry through Kha'Zix. Let's make it happen.
Yeah. Honestly, I'd expect Generation Prodigies to say, okay, looking at this jungle matchup, if Jebediah can start trying to shut out Mr. Oldie, of course he can't go in there on his own because that would be putting yourself into isolation, and that is not advisable into a Kha'Zix. But if they can shut Mr. Oldie out on that Kha'Zix, the comp kind of worries me. Winston pointed out in chat that they've drafted a wombo combo by the looks of it, so they look Rakan R into Rakan's ult into W, Malphite's Unstoppable Force into the Hero's Interest from Galio. So planning to knock up. Don't die, trolls. Don't try Mr. Oldie because no pressure on you, but that's who you're relying on for damage.
Indeed, and I'm expecting Lee Sin to get a lot done. You get some quite interesting fights in the river. If Lee Sin and Kha'Zix end up in a fight for a crab, the Lee Sin can stick near the crab, and that will mean he is not isolated for Kha'Zix's damage. But in a similar vein, the Kha'Zix can also use the crab as a shield for the Lee Sin Q. I think overall, if Lee Sin uses the crab properly, it's winning for him when he does fight for crab. But I think most of this will be decided by lane priority, should they end up at the same crab.
Yeah. But if the crab only counts away from isolation if it's been hit once, but yeah, it's not a hard thing to do. And also crab will block those void spikes from Kha'Zix, that W. So yeah, maybe the crab will be the MVP of this game.
Maybe. I think if you're Lee Sin, you'd want to stand around crab. I think it's pretty much on you to just stand near it, auto it with safeguard, and then say to the Kha'Zix, walk towards me. I think it's Lee Sin's crab, but like I said, most of this I imagine would be decided by whichever laner can roam up first to help. In these lanes, I would expect top lane to have more push priority, and top lane for the Volibear. So I believe that's on.
No, that's on TGAP even.
Oh yeah, so it is.
They've even got
the clan tags on there.
Yeah, clan tags are always very helpful for us casters. Any rune choices sticking out to you? I'm just having a look through them now myself. Nothing's hugely stepping out. I do have the Dark Harvest on Mr. Oldie's Kha'Zix. Very sink or swim. See if you can get those stacks early on. And just to, because my overlay covers up, we do see Joshua taking Comet with Flash DP. So nothing out of the ordinary there. But yeah, my overlay covers that up. So I thought I would fill you in there.
Indeed. And I like the exhaust from Leona. It's quite... I think exhaust is maybe not as much anymore, but it's definitely a very strong summoner spell. I think people are realising that a lot more now, especially with a lot of AD carries taking exhaust. Getting exhaust onto Kha'Zix, getting exhaust onto Xayah. Very strong indeed. Hopefully they won't die from a Xayah Rakan Ignite all-in, but I think they have the range to play around that quite nicely.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about that level 1 potential if they both start W.
If they both start W and Halo Blades, I mean, obviously they'll both start W regardless. On Xayah, you would start Q unless you've got Rakan, so press W, give the effects to both of them. It's quite nice indeed.
Yeah. There we go. Load screen's finished loading. Could it put me into game now, please? That would be lovely.
I'm still in a load screen.
Yeah, so am I. I'm at 100%. I thought it was going to load in if I said that.
One thing I would expect
There we
to
go.
see, I would expect the Volibear to have had Conqueror, just because he does a lot of mixed damage, and obviously that will help him. The Pressy attack will give him some immediate damage into Volibear, but the Conqueror is very nice in an extended trade where you get to use 3 of Volibear's Vicious Bite or whatever it's been renamed to equivalent. Yeah, he heals a lot from it, especially when he's on low health. So Conqueror better for those extended fights. I don't think you're ever really going to have too many short trades where press attack's useful, but we'll see how that's implemented.
Maybe he wants to use it to get that early pressure onto Joshua on that Malphite in this early game. Do you expect an invade from either teams? They seem to both already be fanning out, which answers my own question. Again, neither team really wanting to go for these level 1 shenanigans. One day we'll see shenanigans.
And I've mentioned it before. I'd like to see some interesting invade paths. One good thing about being in a 5 and being on voice in a more competitive environment, you can work on these more sort of like delayed invades.
There's a lot of pings actually coming out for Black Rose here from the side of SAS. Actually, I've got to sort my overlay out. Black Rose actually taking these amount of damage. Nice stun from the Legion Kid. We forced to flash away. It's an early flash pickup. Let's see Jebediah abuse that. Now let me just fix this overlay because I forgot to fix the in-game one. So that's TGOP on our blue side, and SAS are now on the red side.
And just while I do know, what I would be interested to see is, I want to see the Syndra pull the mid wave so it pushes in, so Galio misses XP, but can't see that's being done. Bit of a missed opportunity, but always something you could do, in the future.
Yep, didn't go to aggro those minions altogether. Which could have been a nice punish for Black Rose, but already being a flashless Galio, maybe there's some plans for Jebediah to take advantage here. So,
I'm looking in the top lane. I'd expect the Volibear to be pushing this lane just almost instantly. Volibear's a great champion that you can slow push the first wave and second waves, and then push in the third wave and get a quick recall on. Makes you quite safe from lots of gank timings, but from early gank timings. And you can have a small item advantage like a cull if you want to go a bit more crazy.
Yeah, we do see the both junglers start at bottom side, so there is gank potential as they come up to the top side of the jungle in their pathing. But that being said, Jebediah's hanging around this bottom side. We did see the Zenith Blade from Upelo. It's still being hovered. Actually, we do see Jebediah coming in for this level 2 gank. Trolls will get hit by that Q, but he's just safe to walk away.
And while that was going on, big pressure in the top side. He started Dawn's Ring with 2 pots. He's using one of them now, and the Malphite's had to use one of his pots. He's looking a bit low. We'll see if the Kha'Zix can help. But a fight in mid lane.
Yeah, Black Rose's getting a nice engage into Taunt, doing a lot of damage onto Kachili. Won't finish him off, but we'll get a nice heavy trade in. Always worth considering that. Black Rose does have that Corrupting Potion. We'll be able to out-sustain Kachili there.
He does.
Did
Now,
see
if you're a little Asian kid.
Mr. Oldie has spotted that Jebediah hasn't taken the blue. It looks like he's waiting around for him to start it, but didn't consider the fact that Jebediah went bot lane, is now on his wraiths, taking a full clear path.
And now that all the little wraiths are down, it'll be a lot easier for Lee Sin to regain some more health. He should be about 60-70% when he's coming towards this blue. Galio walking down.
He is. Yeah, that's
invade here.
Mr. Oldie and Black Rose are hovering, looking for it. Jebediah will start these wolves. The ward is there.
Oh, possible kill in the top lane. Malphite's at 200 HP. Flash comes out from the Volibear.
But actually, we do see this engage from Mr. Oldie, catching out Jebediah on that Wolfcamp Flash Force from them both. But the red buff will finish off Jebediah to get that first blood onto Mr. Oldie. And of course, the all-important Dark Harvest stack number 1.
Indeed. So I was surprised that invade actually worked. I thought it was going to be quite easy for Lee Sin just to stay in there, but
we haven't finished yet. We do see Mr. Oldie while taking this blue buff. Little Asian kid with that top prio is hovering about. We'll be walking away using that jump to get away, but this is a 3v2 as Joshua was forced to base. Getting away with that 3 buff clear. Mr. Oldie will always take those. Our first dragon, what's our first dragon? First dragon is a Cloud again. Do you expect either team to prioritize this?
So I wouldn't have thought so, and interesting Lee Sin recall here. So, okay, until Little Asian Kid
Until you
just
realise
started
that,
the wave,
he's got
that was
nothing to clear.
pushing in. A very nice gank would have been to just walk through lane. That wave was about to crash into the tower, or crash towards the tower, and I think that could have been quite a good lane gank, especially considering how there was no flash on the Malphite on Joshua. But Kha'Zix in the top side is looking for
Mr.
something.
Oldie is in this top side. Hovering, he's
No
not in
flashes.
vision yet. An engagement Little Asian Kid will actually allow him to turn around. It's taking a lot of damage already. The W from Mr. Oldie will get him that second Dark Harvest stack.
Do they want
Actually,
to
Joshua
tank?
going for the tank here, but taking 3 tower shots. He's low, but Little Asian Kid is lower. But the recall come out, no kill be secured. But it's a Dark Harvest stack for Mr. Oldie, so that's a win for them.
It is, and I think probably it's the best call to call off that dive there. Kha'Zix didn't have jump, and the Volibear can easily turn things with a stun, so playing on the side of caution. You don't want to into tower too hard. Yeah. So I'm just going to leave you for 2 seconds while I shut all the windows, as it's suddenly freezing, so pick something you enjoy about the game, and I'll be back.
Something I enjoy about the game. Well, actually, I think things to note is that Black Rose has just hit the level 6. Actually going for this engage to get a little bit of a trade on Keely. No real mana to follow up after that Scalar Week. Now, a level 6 Black Rose does give that Hero's Entrance. And with the bot lane of TGOP pushed up, the potential for this Hero's Entrance gank is definitely there. He's in this Dragon Pit, going to be spotted by a Pink Ward and starting to clear that out. And with our dragon spawning, actually already spawned and taken even, by TGOP, we missed that one. Yeah, dragon taken by TGOP. It's actually just going to decide to back off. What's been revealed on that ward will not give him that entrance.
I have returned.
Welcome back. We saw a potential bot lane gank which fizzled after we spotted into a ward. About just the power of that Hero's Entrance, the ultimate from Galio. And he's hovering again. Into this bottom side river. They're just helping with that Scuttle Crab, just not wanting Jeopardy to steal it. The game's definitely slowed down.
Indeed, and I do want to see Lee Sin. I'd like to see Lee Sin playing more towards the top side of this game. I think, especially now, Volibear's 6 with his tower turning off ability, the Stormbringer.
Tower turning off. I much prefer the name Tower Go No.
Indeed. Lights off. That's what I refer it to as.
But yeah, I definitely think that that's where they're winning the most here. They have so much top pro. Up to just now, actually, Little Asian Kid was 2 levels above Joshua on that Malphite. And actually, just the amount of damage he's pulling out here with that PTA procs into the stuns. This is a rough lane for Joshua. He's currently sitting about 300 gold behind. It's about a kill worth of gold behind already. Just going down the map. CS numbers looking pretty even across the board. Small advantage in the bot lane for TJP, but also a small advantage in jungle, actually, for SAS alongside that kill gold as well.
And it's worth noting that the Xayah, she'll miss like 3 of these melees, but then she should pick up this wave. That'll put her only slightly behind on CS, and then it'll be relatively equal.
Yeah, so for approaching the 10-minute mark, things looking pretty even. That's what 2v2 actual skirmish coming up in this top lane. Do you see Little Asian Kid spotting out Mr. Oldie? Mr. Oldie, we're going for this engage. Not going to get the isolation damage, but a nice Uncivil Force landing on both Jeopardy and Little Asian Kid. But return ultimate coming out from Little Asian Kid. The Hero's Entrance will turn the tails of this fight. Little Asian Kid dying, but the TP has already come out from Katili. Scatter of the week. Not sure why he's approaching to go back in here. This is still a 3v2. Mr. Oldie is low, but it is still a Kha'Zix. Still level 6 Kha'Zix. Doesn't have ultimate. Dash and a flash taunt coming out from Black Rose to catch out Katili. Joshua getting a little bit of damage, but they just don't have anything to follow up, and the Scatter of the week will push them away.
And you hate to see this kind of fight, really. If Lee Sin is level 6 in that fight, I think that is a clean 2 kills for TGOP, but unfortunately still level 5, because it's 6 now. So he will have his evolution. let's see what he has chosen to evolve.
Yeah,
And
with that kick from Lee
was-
Sin, it would have been a different fight because I think both either Mr. Oldie or Joshua would have been dead before we had the hero's entrance from Black Rose, which would have been a completely different fight. As we saw the taunts from Black Rose really, really pulling their weight. Now, did we see what Mr. Oldie decided to upgrade first?
oh, we did that. He has evolved his Q first, so you can see they're very long on his foot. So obviously he gets more damage on them and an extra 25 range on Taste Their Fear. So a lot of damage if you're caught out isolated. It's not a good time if you find yourself with a Kha'Zix by solo.
And obviously Mr. Oldie obviously liking more damage here. Never a bad thing. So like, how many Dark Harvest stacks is he currently sitting on? Currently sitting on. It's not going to show me there. 3 is it? It's not going to show me where he's stacked them. Actually, if I can click on him, it will have to show me. Actually, we scrap that. We're going to see a gang of something. Mr. Oldie coming to gank Little Asian, get a lot of damage coming out. Little Asian having no stun, forced to just walk away. Flash coming out, but it's not going to be enough as Mr. Oldie approaches there with his power claws, looking to donate the kill of Joshua, but the
25 range.
Extra 25 range. You took the words out of my mouth. Now, let's have a look at those Dark Harvest stacks as we see runes.
That'll put him on to 4 now, I would imagine.
Thank you for checking, because it was not going to let me without being a bit stupid and breaking my UI.
And we've got a Cinderhulk build on the Lee Sin. That's quite an interesting one. We've got the teams prepping around Drake.
Yeah, Katili's stepping quite far forward, getting a Scat of the Week to save him from the knockup from Hostler. And this Infernal Dragon looks like it's going to be a 5v5. Joshua pathing towards the top lane as he has teleport ready, but Little Asian Kid with no teleport pathing straight towards this dragon. And Rose just left to deal nice little bits of damage.
So I would like to see SAS start this dragon like immediately as soon as they had people in river. They've given time for Volibear to walk down, and you know the whole team's here now, so a bit more difficult. And Malphite does have TP. As well
TP and the all available, almost ready for Black Rose, probably about 5 to 10 seconds after that. And there comes the TP from Joshua. The engage of Black Rose into the 5-man taunt, into that unstoppable force. Where have TGOP gone? As 3 of them instantly deleted. It's just Katili and iMake left. Katili gonna get caught by her Lord Hostlayer. As Joshua and Black Rose push onto iMake. Trolls will finish off Katili in that what's it called? The alcove.
The alcove.
iMake will be the only one getting away alive.
And that's going to be a Drake pickup, I would think.
And you know, Wind Resolve called it in the champ select. The combination of the Rakan ultimate, the Rakan W, into that unstoppable force from Joshua. TGAP just disappeared. And now Jeopardy looking for the steal, but he's in a 4v1. He's level 6. Hero's entrance wasn't used and will be knocked out. His kick not enough to really turn the tides of that fight at all. And that's Dragonborn going over to SS.
Another Ocean Soul. So again, quite a powerful Drake that will want to be fought over. You know, you're not going to want to let a team get a soul again, or else it'll end up as the previous game did. I still think there's quite a lot of competition in this game, despite the 3,000 gold lead. But I just think SAS have the definitely easier to execute comp. You know, TGOP weren't sort of making it easier for themselves when they were just clumping on the drag. As soon as you see the TP coming, I think you really want to just sort of start spreading out. But hopefully they can be a bit more sparse in their positioning for their next fights.
Learn from their mistakes this time. I think we have the exact same dragons we had last game, which is a rare occasion, should I say. But actually, I think a big thing I've just noticed, actually, we saw before this dragon fight that Little Asian Kid always had this top prio, but now Joshua picking up these 6 assists, obviously 4 from that last fight, it's actually made it hard for Little Asian Kid to keep up with the amount of pressure he's putting out here. The gold lead has been evened out, because that's before Little Asian Kid had about 300 gold advantage. And actually, in that time, Mr. Oldie will be taking that Herald. It's hovering between mid and top, wherever he's going to use it. But Uka getting rooted underneath SAS's tower, forced to flash away, but the ultimate from iMake not quite going to finish off Trolls there. Meanwhile, we do see this
Almost.
Herald summoned in the top lane, Little Asian hit, and Jeopardy will stop it getting too much, but the first charge will go down. No platings, they've gone for just under a minute now. I'm not sure I like that Herald.
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned it earlier on in the cast house. I'm not a fan of second herald. That is pretty much a second herald because there's no plating to be had. What really are you gonna do with the top side opened up? Your Malphite wasn't really one for priority anyway. I guess it frees him up to go and run around with the team more, but not a big fan of getting the herald. Not a big fan of how it was used. I think it would have been much better either just placing it mid lane.
Yeah, I'd love to see it go mid lane, but actually Unstoppable Force into Mr. Oldie's just burst combo from that Kha'Zix. Jeopardy will be Jebba deleted, as I keep trying to make puns that, frankly, I don't want to hear anymore.
It's fine. Oh,
Zenithblade actually landing onto Trolls into that solar flare, but the ultimate coming out from Trolls will keep him safe into a nice amount of damage coming out from Trolls and Host there. I make ignited, but Upe just taken down by Trolls with those feathers just being chucked out. Just not enough resistances.
Very, very nice. You can tell those two champions love each other. How didn't offer to block, had to use the Rakan entrance to block it for them.
Yeah, to dodge in just to get that cable not to hit onto Host there.
Well, no, it was definitely a nice. It was definitely a nice Featherstorm into Blade Caller combo. Does a lot of damage. You can't stand in straight lines when Zyra's doing her combos, so slightly unfortunate. Just solidifying the lead that slightly above Synergy has. So the game's looking a little less hopeful for.
It is. I feel like in the last 5 minutes we've gone from a fairly even game, and now TGOP are looking 4,000 gold behind. So yeah, lane swap coming out just to try and finish this top tower. I like this. They use that Herald there. They might as well finish off that tower. Send Joshua bot lane as there's already a tower gone. And he can just mirror that and farm these waves that I make is shoving in.
Oh.
Although I don't think he was spotted there. He's actually behind I make and here comes Mr. Oldie, ready into the... No ultimate available for Joshua, but the Solar Flare will catch them both out. Zenithblade going in, but the hero's entrance will be there to match, getting that knockup onto Upalo. And Upalo will be... I'm not going to go for the pun there, I'm going to leave it go. Upalo will not survive the entrance. I'm not sure why the Zenithblade came to go back in, but it did keep I make alive.
Indeed, and it's always pretty sad being hit by the Malphite ground slam. It will reduce your auto attack damage, or auto attack speed, and as a Caitlyn, that's not what you want. Nice roaming from Black Rose on the Galio as well.
Using that hero's entrance to its potential, using that cooldown. They still do have that Unstoppable Force from Malphite. It wasn't used in that last fight, wasn't even on cooldown, so that is still ready for this dragon fight. And they definitely can send them off. Katili walking into that bush where Joshua is there and ready. Getting a nice scout of the week into a 4-man stun. Looks like it will nicely disengage this potential fight we have in the mid lane.
And at this point in the game, when you're on Lee Sin, this is pretty difficult. There's not too much you can do. A lot of the sort of engage. There's a lot of targets that can either dash around or go untargetable or be unstoppable. You want to ensure you're not clumping with the team. You can look for a godlike engage on Lee Sin if you can find a key target, but at this stage in the game, I think it's very difficult to play Lee Sin.
Speaking of Lee Sin engages, he lands that Q onto Black Rose into a taunt straight away. The flash insect was not quite going to land. It sends Black Rose away, but now the Legend Kid actually going to get caught by Joshua's Unstoppable Force entrance, but a nice turnaround from TGOP will pick up that kill onto Joshua, Mr. Oldie, and Black Rose just going to get away with his life there in this 4v3. That initially looked like it was SAS's to win.
Indeed, the Unstoppable Force from Malphite comes in, hits 2, but then Volibear jumps in, lights off on you, Malphite, and they turn the fight. They just had more people there.
And then obviously trading towers, the bot lane of SAS, Trolls, and Host there taking that top tower, and TGOP will open up that mid lane. I really like that they open up this mid tower. but potentially staying too long. Host there in this mid lane, not quite going to land that look up onto Katili. Scatter the Weak
That's a lot
will
of
push
damage
him
from
away,
EQ.
but a teleport behind Katili. Looking in a dangerous spot right now. The feathers scattered will not actually give the stun potential, and Katili just going to be taken down by. I think I need to learn Zaya's skill names. I don't know any of them. I think they're all just a little bit past me.
Indeed. So, coming up, you will have.
Doesn't look like we're finished as in this. Oh, we've had a little bit of freeze there. In this bot lane, oh, I make Ash now. Gonna be fine.
Yeah, the Solar Flare. Pretty nice for the disengage. You probably want it to for the engage, but at this point, it's a little bit tricky. Quite a long cooldown on Solar Flare, and Leona's not managed to build that much CDR at this point.
They do at least have the health all day.
They do.
But SAS, Mr. Oldie coming in to not quite steal the blue, will get kicked away, but Jebediah will walk up to the little Asian kid to get him a little bit safer. I'm not sure what those freezes are happening, but Mr. Oldie really wants this kill on Jebediah. Hopping around, Black Rose is there to support the hero's entrance coming out. Little Asian kid forced around, but the knockup will land. Mr. Oldie will dash over to finish off Jebediah. But a Scatter of the Weak will pick up Mr. Oldie there, and now Black Rose left on his own as Ioriaa is there with the Zenith Blade into the stun. And that will be a 2-for-1. Feels like SAS are stepping a little bit too far forward. Overestimating how ahead they are.
The Syndra bounty, or Syndra claimed the bounty from Galio, which is an extra 300 gold in the pocket. You know, nothing too critical that she's going to buy with this. It's not like she was going to use it to finish the second pen item. I don't know if she's going to finish her Zhonya's.
I wouldn't be surprised to see her finish that. There's a lot that she can Zhonya's. You got that unstoppable force from Malphite. You got the hero's entrance from Galio, and of course Rakan's basically everything. And Hourglass. That stasis will be really, really good for Katili on that Syndra. So it does look like a nice knockup landing onto iMake into the charm, but will be left quite healthy actually, as Ioriaa comes along just to force him away. But that mid tower will fall.
And we've got Unstoppable Force up on the Malphite again. Will we see a pick just before the Dragon? They're going to take away the Raptors.
In that bush, getting the Zenith Blade landing on. So who's there? The Black Rose in this front line. Zenith Blade, Solar Flare landing on most of the team for SAS. But in that front line, Joshua just didn't have the amount of sustain to keep himself alive, and now we just see the SAS are falling one by one to this comp of TGOP. iMake and Katili both looking very healthy, doing a decent amount of damage. It's currently a 4-for-1. Mr. Oldie.
Ooh, that's a
flash coming out, but Katili's on their own. The isolation damage,
very nice,
but not enough to finish him off, as a nice stun combo from Little Asian Kid, and Ioriaa will finish him off as a 5-for-1.
And
it's not over.
TGOP should run to Baron right now.
The gold lead has been closed. It's only about 2k now. I thought this game was over. It was 10-1, and now it's 15-10.
Even with the volley ult not really seeming to do that much, they seem to have managed to turn that fight around. Syndra with a very good Scatter of the Weak, stopping Kha'Zix from doing the assassination at the end. I approve. Quite quick reflexes. So we'll see. We've got a game. Dragon coming up.
Yeah.
It's a dragon you can probably let go since you're quite low on resources, but we'll see if they fight for it.
Yep, this dragon would put SAS on Soul Point, but with this a recall coming out from Ioriaa, I expect them to just let this go, as you said. Wards are being cleared, but yeah, most of the team of TGOP recalling, out of vision. Actually, the recall's cancelled. They're hovering around. I think they won this. There you go. We'll be spotted on that ward by Mr. Oldie.
For Leona and Caitlyn.
Yeah, all this stalling has bought time for TGOP to reset, to spend their gold, and actually cooldowns are all back minus the ultimate from Little Asian Kid.
An interesting look. They started the dragon.
Yeah, a nice push from Black Rose will make TGOP hover, and that will be Soul Point for SAS, and Jebediah forced to use those dashes to get himself to safety.
He did.
I actually really like that play from Black Rose there. Shoving that mid wave made the comp of TGOP. They started path wasn't there, like, wait, no, they're starting Dragon now, we need to go towards this. And it was just like hovering of pathing, which meant that SAS had the time to just melt down the Dragon before TGOP could even react.
And the Dragon went very quickly. There was from their current state, they could have. There wasn't much they could do. The hope was for a Lee Sin steal, didn't quite make it. quite keyly. The Lee Sin flashes down, so that'll make any Lee Sin engages, a lot more difficult. Maybe we'll see him get
We
some
see
insects in
Katili
because
getting
in the mid
smited by
lane,
Mr.
but
Oldie.
Syndra-
Is isolated. Black Rose and Lord Host there surrounding him, but a flash. He's actually flashing towards Joshua. Hourglass is not going to save you here. It's just delaying your death, possibly a cooldown you're going to need later on. But actually, the ultimate from iMake, a nice block from Host there, will not finish off Mr. Oldie. Actually, a nice interrupt of the dash from Jeopardy. Does force Black Rose's flash to get away. These are important cooldowns that are all going down. And I want to see these teams make something of it.
Indeed, and Caitlyn's very strong. She's got Essence Reaver. She's got her Infinity Edge. Kind of surprised we're not seeing a Storm Razor as the second item. You'd normally expect it as the first item on Caitlyn, but Infinity Edge also works. Storm Razor can do a lot, helps her kite, her 650 range. It's pretty nasty to play against. But there's a lot of damage, gives her some cooldown back, and I'm unsure if she's going to go into a crit.
It does look like she's going towards either a Shiv or a RFC here. I'd expect an RFC with that electric stabby sword thing that she's picked up. That item names are just beyond me. If it's not
the Krieker Shard. I mean, it still could go into a Storm Razor. If she does decide to build another AD item, it'll make her ults do quite a lot of damage, as well as the Q, as it has quite a big AD scaling on that.
Yes.
Would feel you want the Rapid Fire, though. I feel like if you want the items in Caitlyn, it's IE, Storm Razor, and then Rapid Fire. So the Essence Reaver's a bit out of place, in my opinion, for that one, but
I can't say I'm a fan of the Essence Reaver either. But yeah, I would expect this to be a RFC, just with the way these fights have been playing out. I don't think it's the ultimates in this game we need from iMake. I think it's just the consistent damage, and that attack speed and that extra range is always going to help.
Indeed. And we've seen the Xayah pick up a Grievous Wounds item in the Executioner's Calling. Very nice. Her AoE attacks that have passed through on the passive, as well as the Featherstorm ultimate, can get Grievous Wounds onto a lot of the team who are standing there. I don't know what she's looking to sort of cast Grievous Wounds on. There's, outside of Volibear, there's not too much healing.
There's a Conqueror on the Lee Sin, but that's not huge.
Yeah, he's building tank. He's not going to do much damage.
I think it's more of a precautionary buy. It's 800 gold. It's a 6-in-1 Xayah. Just help slow down and shut down that Volibear. I don't hate it. But yeah, we're starting to path towards Baron. Both teams are hanging around. Let's have a look at vision here. Actually, TGP having almost no vision of this Baron. And on the flip side, SAS not having really any vision in the jungle of TGOP here. So neither team having too much knowledge, obviously, SAS of the approach, or TGOP of the Baron area in general. Ioriaa just looking to ward around there. It's going to spot out that pink in the pit.
Yeah, they're just going to handshake off the vision. Galil aggro the Baron, so Leon will take a bit of damage, but nothing some honey fruit can't heal up.
Can't fix for you. Next dragon coming up super soon. That's actually going to be in 45 seconds. With SAS at Soul Point, SAS either get Soul here or they get Baron. They don't actually have to fight this.
Item pickup. The Xayah has gone for a Mortal Reminder. That's an interesting animation choice. I would have thought you would want your third crit item, the Phantom Dancer, just because it'll mean you can auto get move speed, which also synergizes with your W, which gives you a similar effect of move speed when you hit champions. Makes you very hard to hit. And Leon will take a bit of damage.
Yeah, there's potential for this to be so explosive. Joshua is top lane with TP. Black Rose is mid lane with both TP and the hero's entrance. But TJP,
they're split.
They're going instead for the pick onto Black Rose. Going to use that dash to get away up in this top side. But Ioriaa is still hovering around this dragon. As Ocean Dragon will be started, a potential Ocean Soul. Yeah, Soul going for SAS. It's not that close in the pit. They don't have the vision here. And that's Ocean Soul going to SAS almost uncontested. They went towards Black Rose and Black Rose was safe. And then this whole time, yeah, we do see Joshua in this top lane. Inhibitor tower gone. And this is the time for SAS going into fight, getting a nice knock up onto Jeopardy. Hero's entrance landing onto 3 members of TGOP. iMake is there left to do a lot of damage, but the Unstoppable Force will pick out Katili. The Legion Kid doing a nice bit of damage and stopping trolls from protecting the rest of this fight, but the rest of SAS are just zoning away. TGOP, Mr. Oldie left to just mow through the back line of TGOP, and that will be a 5 for 0 and 4 for 0. And Jeopardy did get out alive there.
Indeed, and I'm glad that Trolls managed to kite up to his team. He was being run down by the Volibear. I don't think he would have actually died. The Ocean Soul's quite good for that, but it's always nice to kite back towards your team when you're being runner down as an ADC. I think they'll just end the game here. I don't think
we are on Nexus Towers here. Nexus Tower 1 falling. It's just FD alive. A nice taunt into the isolated damage. Well, the Q from Mr. Oldie. That'll be Nexus Tower number 2 falling. Katili is a life defender as well as Upela and iMake, but a lot of damage going out on Katili. Upela getting engaged in that backline, but Katili will be deleted. Blackroy is actually looking super low with iMake doing a lot of damage in his backline, retreating back to his fountain tower. Joshua taking a lot of damage from that fountain turret. Solar Flare will land on him, but there's just not enough damage to finish off as Little Asian Kid is focusing onto trolls. And Mr. Oldie will pick up that final kill onto iMake as game 2 goes over to SAS. Some 2-0 in what I think is the best of 3 here, but it could be more.
And we never will find out what Caitlyn was going to buy, because she had the Crit Cloak, she had the Kirkus Shard, could go into both of those items, both Stormrazor, and any of the Zeal crowns that build out of those. So that one will be lost to time.
I don't think the Zeal crit items build out of both the Shard and the... Actually, no, because of course you need one for Zeal, yes.
Yeah,
right,
you need the Zeal to get you need the Crit Cloak into the Zeal. So yeah, could have been any. We'll never know. So MVPs, what do you think? Kick things off.
Let's start with our winning side with slightly above Synergy. And for me, I actually want to give it to Black Rose. Coming in as, not playing game 1. And honestly, I think the heroes' entrances in these fights just were huge. There was roaming basically as soon as Black Rose hit level 6. It was there in these side lanes ready to support. Shoutouts as well to Mr. Oldie for just having this constant pressure on that Kha'Zix, going for those Dark Harvest stacks, going for those ganks. But I think for me, it goes to Black Rose. How about you for slightly above Synergy?
So it's a tricky one, because obviously a lot of these plays where, the 3 sort of contenders would have been like Mr. Oldie on the Kha'Zix, you've got Black Rose, and you've got Joshua. Obviously bot lane played relatively well. I'd like to say whoever was shot calling for, a lot of the team engagers, I'd give it to them. So what I'd probably say, I'll give it to Mr. Oldie again. Previously, Mr. Moldy, who got MVP from me last time, but now Mr. Oldie will take the title. He will strike down Mr. Moldy and take it from him. So I think the junglers are the people with the agency that can shout out the plays, and solid performance all around.
Yeah, actually, it'd be interesting to know if we've got SAS in chat who was shot calling for that game.
And MVP on the losing side.
On the losing side, I'll let you go first this time.
Okay, so let's go with process of elimination. So probably wasn't the Lee Sin. Didn't manage to get as much done as you'd probably want to as Lee Sin. You'd very much like to get an early lead. That didn't come to fruition, unfortunately. Little Asian Kid, I liked some of the top lane plays. Obviously, there was a lot of pressure there, and a lot of he created quite a lot of space in these team fights. I didn't see that much from the rest of the map. There was some nice scatter of the weeks that came through, so I think I'll throw it between Syndra or Volibear, and I think the Syndra will take it just by a margin because I liked some of the scatter of the weeks that came out, and there was a fair amount of pressure applied by that champion.
Yes, I do have to agree with you. I think Katili did play the most consistent from the side of generation of Prodigies. I don't know if there's a game 3. I don't think so. I think they're doing a best of 3. So if they're doing a best of 3, let's just talk about, and when we do it, let's not tunnel in on the boot buys. Things that stood out to you from these teams that were either, really good and you want to praise extra, or things that you're thinking, actually, I think this needs work. Again, this is a scrim. Improvement is what these teams are looking for.
Yeah, so I gotta say, two to three dragons in, we thought that TGOP was quite down and out. They found quite a few little team fights. A lot of the team fights that started out looking quite well for slightly above synergy that didn't end up that they did manage to turn. So credit to them for being able to claw some kills back when when they're in a losing state.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I don't know what each of the players play and what they feel comfortable of. I think if you're going to play Lee Sin, I think you need to be a lot more proactive. I think you need to set up a lot more ganks. So especially I think it was highlighted by myself earlier how there was a wave pushing into the volley bear, highly stacked. The volley bear can just stand just in front of his tower, freeze it there. The Lee Sin was on the same side of the map. He can walk up through lane, probably a free kill onto Joshua's Malphite since they both didn't have flash. Obviously, volley bears Q is a very good it's a very good ability for engaging. So yeah, I'd just like to see lanes setting up more plays for the junglers to actually create some plays. You can always freeze waves, hold waves, and I think it was mentioned at the start as well how with Black Rose being flashless and having to base early, Syndra could have easily pulled the minions in, get them to all target her, drop the aggro, and then they'll all focus one minion in the mid wave, and then he would start to lose XP as they all kill down those minions. What about yourself?
Yeah, you've covered quite a lot of it too. I do want to highlight, actually it was pointed out in chat just now, that yeah, I do really want to call out that play from, I think it was Joshua, Mr. Oldie, and Black Rose, who, shut out Jebediah from the get-go in this game too. Got Mr. Oldie that 3 buff clear, and as I said, it did put Jebediah on that Lee Sin in a tough spot for the rest of the game. So yeah, I think that was a really good call from... It wasn't just you, because I know that Black Rose was there helping, even if it was just vision, and there to support. It's got to be there in spirit. As for things to work on, I think if we look at Generation of Prodigies, I think there was a lot of times where, in both games actually, they were, super ahead, and I think there's a lot of points where they overestimate how much they're ahead or underestimate how much, in this game, Generation of Prodigies could do in return. So we saw some of these fights that were, I think, 2 or 3 into 4, and they're outnumbered. And taking the assumption that they were ahead, assuming they could win, and it didn't work out. And all of these times where they were going ahead and looking for these outnumbered fights, it was giving Generation Prodigies time to come back and potentially, bring the game back and give us a third game.
Oh yeah, and I gotta say, you want to immediately improve GP. He's right there, never being banned. No one bans GP. You can get quite a lot done with GP, I feel. But obviously, we all play the champs that we feel are most appropriate. Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently that's the way to win. Gangplank is the way to win. Now, as I've been told, there is not going to be a third game. It was best of 3, so congratulations to Slightly Above Synergy taking that 2-0. Thanks for his teams to actually letting us cast this game today. Thank you to Russ for doing some last minute casting with me. He sometimes streams on Twitch. As I type out your Twitch into the shout out.
Ooh.
Go and check him out. He streams sometimes. And it's actually
it's
second time casting with ESDL and myself. And not Gavin. Gavin wasn't here today.
F in the chat for Gavin.
F in the chats for Gavin, yeah. Couldn't make it today. I of course stream here. It's become mostly casting because I'm too lazy to stream other things. But I will try to stream other themes. Yes, that does it, of course, pass away from the Moby Boots roast today. But hey, maybe next time Gavin's going to come in and he's going to be like, no Moby Boots, guys. Don't buy Moby Boots.
No, to be fair, there was a fair amount of Moby Boots in these last two
both
games.
supporters picking them up. I'm not going to tunnel in on it today. We did that plenty yesterday. But yeah, unless you have any final words, yeah.
Gangplank,
Gangplank is the
Ezreal,
final word
Karma.
for us today.
These are some champions.
Just let
Do you not
Russ
cover
draft a
playing
comp
Karma?
for you. That's your game next time.
Yeah, tell you what I'll do. Next time, I'll set up 5 computers, 10 computers in my house, and we'll pick all these champions, and we can cast those games. And one of the teams is going to have Gangplank, Karma, Ezreal, Yumi, and then an easy-to-play jungler. And that team comp will win every single game, even though I'm playing on 10 computers. So it'll be great. Pick up those champions. They're pretty broken, in my opinion. You don't even need hands to play Karma. Pretty easy. But Gangplank, pretty strong. Make melee champions cry. Poke out range champions. It's a good pick.
Well,
It's a good look.
go. That's the way to win, guys. But yeah, again, once again,
guys.
thanks to the teams for playing, letting us cast, and Russ for casting with me. And we will see you whenever we next get a scrim or a team or a league that's going to be casted. As most teams are being drafted now, I'm going to start messaging some people to see what days they're playing and if we can cast that league. But yeah, thank you and a goodbye. Yeah.
I'm not doing that today. Goodbye.
You got it clipped yesterday and now you don't want to do it.
There you go. I've put in. And
Yeah,
I put it in the chat. There you go.
Goodbye, guys.
Thanks everyone.
Bye.
And we'll